why would men be considerably less likely to access support for mental health problems?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I echo the point that we need to know more, and we need to design services based on perhaps a lot more in-depth evidence and research into to this. I think one thing that we hear all the time is that there seems to be this kind of blanket term that's applied to particular gender identities, and men are a very diverse group. Some of the things that we hear are that perhaps the services are designed and perhaps the language around therapeutic or treatment approaches to mental health are very much more female coded. And there is something that we need to do to make those services seem more appropriate and acceptable to men to come forward. One of the huge problems we have is that it is still perceived. I think that the issue around stigma is much more acutely held amongst certain groups of men. It's very difficult to actually sometimes to recognise the feelings of distress. There's plenty of research that shows even though men may be suffering, they don't necessarily recognise that because that emotional literacy, even from a very, very early age, isn't inculcated. So as Andy was saying, talking about mental health at an early stage in schools, there isn't that language for boys. So in terms of responses, I think it's very important, and we would say that there's an opportunity for the government, for the Department of Health to look into ensuring that there is much more cultural awareness and competencies amongst workforce. For instance, walking into my local GP, you have to tell somebody on the desk who is often female why you want an appointment, what it is that's causing you concern. That's immediately could be a huge barrier for men actually coming forward and speaking about it in the first place. And I think that it's really about, I love the data, really welcome the amount of data gathering that's being done around this issue. One of the problems with data and empirical data is what that's based on. And because men often don't talk and can't self-assess their situations, are you really getting the data that's going to help to design services that will work? There are plenty of, obviously within our organisation, there's about 10,000 therapists who are hearing every day men's experiences, lived experiences of dealing with work, of dealing with family issues, of dealing with all kinds of things. The key question that our psychotherapists are asked by men is, am I normal? Is what I'm experiencing normal? So that goes to show that societally we still have a huge hurdle to cross to foster a much more inclusive, diverse and psychotherapeutically informed language around men's mental well-being.